We all know that one person who conveniently, forgets to mention their birthday's coming up. Maybe they dodge the topic at work, or, hey, maybe that person is actually you. While some people are out there planning these massive parties and literally counting down the weeks on their calendars, there's a whole other group of people doing the exact opposite. They're keeping quiet, staying completely off the radar, and deeply, deeply hoping the day just passes by unnoticed. So let's dive into this explainer and uncover the really fascinating psychology behind why some people actively hide their birthdays and just pretend it's a totally normal day.
Now, this behavior challenges a massive societal assumption, the idea that everyone naturally loves a party. From a very young age, we're conditioned to associate birthdays with pure joy, cake, and celebration, right? We're essentially taught that this is the one day a year you are supposed to be unconditionally happy. So, when someone completely rejects that whole narrative, it naturally makes us wonder, what's actually going on beneath the surface? Why would someone secretly wish their own special day would just, poof, disappear entirely?
Well, there's a massive gap between what society tells us a birthday should look like and the quiet internal reality that a lot of people actually experience. It's kind of like being forced to wear a sweater that's 3 sizes too small. Society insists it's this wonderful gift, but to you, it's just suffocating and uncomfortable. On one hand, you have this heavy societal expectation, the demand for parties, hitting milestones, projecting constant joy. But the hidden reality? Psychology tells us that birthdays can actually trigger intense social comparison, a crushing pressure to perform, and a very real discomfort with external validation.
All right, let's move to our first core concept, the secret birthday dread.
The absolutely crucial point here is that we need to completely throw out the idea that people who dread their birthdays are just pessimistic, cranky, or simply afraid of getting older. Society loves to jump to that afraid of wrinkles conclusion because, frankly, it's a light, easy narrative to swallow. It lets everyone off the hook. But psychology says this behavior actually reveals much deeper, hidden struggles that have absolutely zero to do with vanity or the number of candles on a cake.
Let's get into the real cognitive mechanics of this in Section 2, the high-stakes performance review.
For a lot of people, a birthday is a meaningful milestone, right? A moment to reflect on how far they've come and celebrate their progress. But there's an internal tug-of-war going on for birthday dreaders. For them, a birthday acts as this harsh, completely unavoidable marker of time. It forces them to reflect on their life progress in a way that can immediately trigger feelings of inadequacy. It shines this glaring spotlight on unmet desires and can leave them feeling painfully behind their peers.
Imagine waking up on a random Tuesday and your boss unexpectedly hands you a mandatory day-long performance review covering your entire life. Sounds awful, right? Well, that is exactly what a birthday feels like for these individuals. Instead of seeing the day as a carefree celebration, their brain shifts into a hypercritical evaluation mode. It starts ruthlessly tallying up achievements versus expectations. And when the brain treats the day like a high-stakes audit, it often leaves the person feeling totally unsuccessful or lost rather than celebrated and loved.
This leads us perfectly into Section 3, the burden of joy.
So, birthdays come with this incredibly rigid societal demand to be joyful. It's a lot like the pressure some people feel during the summer to constantly be out, active, and having the absolute time of their lives. Birthdays demand a specific emotional performance that might not match a person's internal reality at all. It's literally a localized form of toxic positivity. Everyone expects you to smile, laugh, and be absolutely thrilled. But when you don't feel that way, you start to experience a deep disconnect and even guilt for not feeling the joy you are supposedly required to feel. Just think about the exhausting heavy lifting the brain has to do to keep up this whole happy birthday charade, masking internal stress or confusion and faking enthusiasm for a full 24 hours. That requires a massive amount of cognitive energy. You're constantly monitoring your reactions just to make sure you look appropriately grateful to everyone around you. By the time the day is over, the person isn't just physically tired from socializing, they are completely cognitively drained from expending so much mental energy on a performance.
Okay, moving right along to Section 4, the unwanted spotlight.
In our day-to-day lives, because insecurities make us feel vulnerable, we often work really hard to hide them. We find a comfortable, quiet baseline. But a birthday rips away that comfortable invisibility. Poof, you are directly in the spotlight. For someone who is stressed, struggling, or just feeling emotionally raw, this unwanted exposure is the absolute last thing they want. Keeping the day a secret and blending into the background starts feeling significantly safer than being that emotionally exposed.
There's this beautiful sentiment that perfectly captures this mindset. Meaningful experiences don't need an audience. You know, some people naturally place much less value on external validation. They just don't feel a strong need to broadcast their lives for social approval, and they measure their worth internally. For these folks, sitting at the head of a table while a room full of people stare at them and sing feels incredibly artificial, unnecessary, and honestly, deeply uncomfortable.
Psychology actually suggests that emotional reactions often reflect our unmet needs. And when that birthday spotlight hits, it can accidentally shine a painful light on exactly what is missing. All that attention brings whatever you feel you lack right up to the surface. It might highlight a lack of deep social connection in your daily life. It could point out an unfulfilling career path, or really emphasize the absence of a truly supportive romantic relationship. Which brings us to our final takeaway in Section 5, reclaiming your peace.
This is probably the most validating conclusion of this entire explainer. If you're someone who hates your birthday, or if you know someone who does, you have to realize that it doesn't mean you're pessimistic, ungrateful, or somehow broken. Not at all. It simply means your nervous system is overwhelmed. You have literally hit an absolute limit with the heavy pressure to perform an emotion you don't actually feel, combined with the crushing weight of social comparison.
Ultimately, blending into the background isn't a character flaw. Actually, scratch that, it's not a flaw at all. It is a highly effective, brilliant defense mechanism. Choosing to treat your birthday like a normal day is a powerful way for the brain to protect itself when everything just feels like too much. It's a conscious strategy used to reduce emotional stimulation. By avoiding the spotlight, the individual is able to reclaim their peace and establish their own psychological safety. At its core, it's a profound act of self-care.
We make so many assumptions about people based on societal norms, right? Like the whole idea that everyone should naturally love a birthday party. But once you pull back the curtain and really understand these hidden struggles with social comparison, validation, and emotional fatigue, you gain a massive amount of empathy. So what does this all mean for us? It really makes you wonder, what other everyday human behaviors will you begin noticing in a completely new light now that you understand the hidden mechanics driving them?
If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel so we can keep uncovering the hidden psychology behind everyday behavior together. Because I promise you, once you understand how the mind really works, you begin noticing things about yourself and other people that most folks never even think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to jump into our next deep dive with you soon.